Hey, good evening, YouTube fans. I was coming to you today. Today is November 24th, 2013, and you might be wondering, like, what's going on with the guy named Obama man? Well, everybody know Obamacare has now hit the United States of America airways or internet airways, and some people are pro, so some people are con in reference to Obamacare. But the reason I'm here, my plan is to start going into another direction for as Obamacare. And I'm not against it or I'm not necessarily for it, but my goal here on YouTube in the next coming months is to enlighten the people or give the people information on how to heal their body from the inside out, or what we like to call alternative medicine. But to get started, before I go into successions of other videos in the future, I want to focus on a real big thing in our society, and that's called, we have these negative social habits, or things that we do towards others and we think they have no impact or no influence on how we affect someone's attitude or their feelings or what have you. So let's get right down to the nitty gritty here. And first of all, I want to focus on 6 negative social habits you should quit today. And the first one is complaining for attention. And everybody knows we all like garbage trucks when it comes to complaining. We have a garbage truck full of complaints and we like to put them off on others. But the problem is, when you do that, you always have a habit of turning any conversation the negative way, because it can start off positive. If it's coming from a friend, he might have something positive to put out, like, hey guy, I just got married, blah blah blah. But you might take that positive thing and take it down a negative road or situation where you start complaining about everything that is wrong about your life. Then you go into some short-lived type of attention, and then beyond that, people will start avoiding you soon. So it's an awful way to keep that attention going and a sad way to live our life. So let's get over that and focus on positive reinforcement type of thinking, and you will notice people will be attracted to you more. So let's get away from complaining for attention. So the next one is fishing for compliments. So what happens is, most of the time, when someone pays you a compliment, most of us say thank you. Okay, that's most of us. Or some of us would do this. They'll say, when we're giving a compliment, we're going to that thing where we'll say, oh, I look awful today, I didn't do my hair, ladies, or I just threw something on and I didn't spend much time picking out my clothes. And what you do when you do that is you unknowingly just brought that person's mood down, because this person came to give you a positive message, and your reply was to not graciously accept that that compliment. And so the next time that person might bump into you, you will not get that compliment, and then you'll have a problem with that person. And that's how most of us are in this, in the society we live in. We go fishing for compliments, and a person can give you a compliment and you kind of not accept it, and then when that person don't give it back to you, you have a problem with that person. So let's get past that fishing for compliments. Okay, third, multitasking while you chat. Okay, we all have a problem with that, but we need to draw a line when it comes to multitasking while we're chatting. And what I mean by that is, someone walk up to you and have a conversation with you, you need to talk to them. You don't need to be browsing on the internet. Going to all the social medias, the Facebooks, because that shows that you're listening, but you're not. Or you have an ear to what they're saying, but most of your attention was directed towards the computer or the TV show or the whatever you might be doing. So let's get away from multitasking while you chat. It really annoys people, and a lot of times they won't, tell you in your face, but they'll go tell your buddy, or if it's a family member, they'll go call mom or dad and says, guess what, so-and-so, try to have a conversation with them, but they always, kind of ignore me. So let's get past that, people, please. Okay, this is a big one. I've had this problem myself. Cutting people off mid-sentence, and what that does is, when you cut people off mid-sentence, first of all, it's very cruel. Second of all, it's been shown that statistically, people that cut people off mid-sentence have a higher stress level or cortisol level in their body. And you might say, hold on, those are just words, but look at the evidence, people. Words are very powerful, and if you want to get on a spiritual note, biblically in the Bible it says there's life and death in words, and we can destroy each other with words. I remember reading an article years ago about Nazi Germany, when some of the SS men were planning on, some of the destructions of Warsaw, Poland, and they was going to move a lot of the Jews into the certain ghettos. They was planning this big old, roundup of Jews, and all these SS men were sitting around the table, and only body was there were them, and they had glasses of water, surrounding the table. And so what happened after that? They were planning this big, mass murder, and so the men was drinking water, that is, and the next day all of them came down deathly ill. And an investigation soon ensued, and come to find out what happened, their negative energy, believe it or not, was transferred into that water, and it held that memory. And once it held that memory, they ingested the water, and that damaged water, per se, made them deathly ill. And you might say, hey, the guy in the Obama mask, you're out of your mind, but think about it. The human body is mostly water, or a huge percent of water. And we claim that words don't hurt. I beg to differ. You can raise a child and uplift them every day, and that child will prosper and flourish. But you can also, on the other hand, raise a child and constantly degrade that child and belittle this child. And what will happen is that child will come up and have all types of social issues, mental issues, and you name it. PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's like the child is in war, and this child is, in the confines of a family-type environment. And so let's be careful with the words we choose, and let's stop cutting people off mid-sentence. All right. Number 5, not paying attention to the people you care about. Most of us, we pretend to listen to our loved ones, and this one's kind of similar to, number 4. But what you don't really realize, you do this thing called half listening. Like I said, I touched on some of that stuff in on 4. But your loved one notices it when you don't show them the proper, attention, and it hurts, and let's stop doing it. Okay, number 6, an unsupported attitude. The greatest gift you can give your loved one is to believe in them and let them know that you love them, you care about them, you'll do anything to help them. Because think about it. Look at the world today. turn on the news, CNN, Fox News, any of those news stations. There's very little positive things going on in the world. There's always something negative, always death, there's always destruction. And so, think about that. You have a part in this world. It's roughly 7 billion people on the planet. And you might say, well, what I'm doing don't matter. Yes, it does, because if you affect someone within your household, you degrade them, or you have an unsupported attitude, or you don't listen, or you do this multitasking while you chatting, or fishing for compliments, and doing all these other things, that person is now affected, and they will go out, and it's a possibility they might do the same thing. And so, to reach one, you have to teach one. So, if you're doing it, which, like I said, I've done it before, and I'm on a new path, and my goal is to help change the world. And what I mean by that, I don't necessarily go out and try to change 7 billion people, but my goal in having this YouTube channel is I'm not necessarily going to change the world, but I want to spark the mind that changes the world. And again, you might say, okay, well, I'm in this mass, and I will say to you is that my goal here is to provide YouTube with alternative type healing. And that's going to be my focus with my videos. And in the future, I plan on giving away items, that will uplift the human spirit, from crystal to different types of necklaces for healing, to different type of salts, different type of, supplements. And I would look forward into, spreading more joy into the world, because everybody needs a hug. I can't reach out there and hug you in YouTube world, but if I could, I would, because believe me, people are hurting. People are really hurting. I just got over a lot myself. I'm 41 years old, and it took me this whole part, maybe a major part of my life, to realize that life is so short and it could be gone like that. In the blink of an eye, and we hear that, but we really don't pay no attention to it. And we done stop finding beauty in the world. It used to be a time when I was younger, I can find beauty in a rose. You look at a rose, and a rose falls apart, petal by petal, to the ground. I used to find beauty in that. I used to find beauty in clouds when it rains, or when a cloud weeps. I used to relate that back to us. But, crying is a cleansing. People always relate it back to some negatives, but really, crying is supposed to be a healing thing for the soul. That clears the mind, clears the soul, clears the senses, the consciousness, and you start with a clean slate. But keep in mind that we have the power to change ourselves, and I hope people will subscribe and tune back in. This is my first video. I know I was kind of jumping around a little bit, but I promise you I'm going to get better, and I look forward to helping somebody with some of the information I got, and I got tons of it, and there's things you won't believe that I will be putting out in the future that I promise you, if you apply them, it will change your life as it has mine. YouTube, peace, and God bless.